Hello, lovely people. How are you all doing? I hope you are great. I hope you are keeping safe too. In this video, I'll be teaching you how to make a V-neck ruffle dress. A V-neck ruffle dress. I'm doing this on behalf of Gifted Hands Fashion House. Gifted Hands Fashion House is a fashion school where you are opportunity to learn how to sew everything about females wear, including children's wear, and how to make hats, fascinators, turban, atogele in just 6 months. By 6 months, you are done with everything. And we are situated in Anambra State, Nnewi precisely. For more info about this, call us on these numbers on your screen. Thank you. Now, a sleeveless to make a sleeveless ruffle dress, I'll be using these materials to work on it. I need this. This is my sequin material, and then this is my satin. And then I'll use this for my ruffle. This is organza material. I'll use the organza for my ruffle. Now let's start. What I'll be doing now, I'll use this to cut out. I'm going to coat this one. I'm going to coat this on this sequin material. So I'll use this one to trace out and mark out everything, and then I'll replace it with this. So let's start with this. Okay, I'll be using this for the front gown. Here I have my starting point here. You can see the line. Then here's my chest line. Here's my under bust. Here's my half length. And I have my waistline to my hip line here. I have here my waistline to my above knee line and my seam allowance. Now after taking this measurement, I'll now take my bust measurement. I'm working with a bust of 28. 28 divided by 4 is 7. 28 divided by 4 is 7. Here's my 7 plus 3-inch seam allowance. I'll mark 10. I have 10 here. And then you can, if you like, you mark your under bust circumference. If you don't like, leave it like that. So I'll go to my half length. I'm working with a half length of okay, on this half length I'll be taking my waist measurement. So I'm working with a waist of 27. 27 divided by 4 is 6.75. I'll mark it here, and then plus my 3 inches seam allowance. And then I'll take my hip measurement on my waistline to the hip line. I'll take my hip measurement here. Now my hip measurement, I'm working with a hip of 32. 32 divided by 4 is 8. I'll mark my 8 here. Plus 3 inches seam allowance, 11. Now whatever I have here, I'm going to deduct about 1 inch from it. So this is 11. I'll deduct 1 inch to get the pencil. I'll get 10. So I'll connect these lines. Let me first connect it with this chalk. So what I have here is this. Get it like this. Now if I decide to mark the under bust circumference, I'll be getting, after dividing it by 4, I'll get my 9.5 here. So I'll connect it like this. This one comes here, then this one like this. I'll connect this to my hip measurement, then this one will come back here, and I'll take it down from here. So the hip is supposed to be curvy, so I'll curve it down. And here's what we have for the shape of the gown. Now here I'll take my shoulder measurement. I'm working with a shoulder of 14. 14 divided by 2 is 7. plus half, even though it's going to be a sleeveless dress, but I'll just add half inch, but later I'll shape it. So I'll mark the 7.5 here as well, and then I'll connect it. So here's what we have. Then I'll shape the armhole. Get this. And then I'll mark the width of my neck. I'm working with a neck width of 3, and it's going to be a V-neck. Then I'll take the neck depth. I'm working with a neck depth of 4.5. Mark it. So I'll construct my V-neck here, just like this. And the next thing to do, I will I'll slant my shoulder. I'll slant my armhole, slanting with 1 inch, and I'll connect it as well. So here is it. I'll cut it out from here. Here is what we got for the front dress. I'm going to use this one now to trace it to get the back. I'll trace this one to get the back. I've traced out the back. Here is the back. I used pin to secure it and then trace the back. Now this armhole, remember the front armhole is different from the back armhole, but I cut the two armholes equal. Now when I remove this back pattern here, I'll now redress my armhole, my front armhole. And then the neck here, I made it lower than the front neck. The back neck is deeper than the front neck. That's just how I want it to be. But if you want, and if you want your own to be above this one, put it wherever you want. Okay, now this is my zip allowance. I'm going to shape out this zip allowance. So to shape it, at my half length, at the half length here, I'll mark 1 inch, and then I'm going to connect it from here down like this. So I've marked it out. I'll cut it from here. I'll cut open, I'll cut it open. Just like this. From this 1 inch I marked here, I'll take it to the top like that. So this is all I'll be needing for the back. And what I'll do next, I'll remove the pins. I'll remove the pins so that I can reshape my front armhole. So here's the back, and this is the front. To reshape this front armhole, I'm going to take half of it, half of this armhole. I have 6 here, so I'll mark half of it. Half of it I'll use okay, I'll use 6, I'll use 3.5. Now from here now I mark 0.5. So the new shape of my armhole is going to be like this. going to get it like this from here up, and then like this. So I'm going to reshape it now. Here is it. Now I'm done with the upper part. So this is what I came up with. This is the upper part. Now I'm going to cut the sequence. I'm going to trace out the sequence on this one. Do it and show you. I've cut it out. Here's the front part. Now this satin in here, I'm going to cut another satin. I'll be using it for the lining to turn it up. So it's almost like these two is going together. This sequin and this fabric, this satin here, both of them are together. So I'll now cut another satin just like this to use it for the turn up. Okay. Okay, I've cut the sequin. I've traced it with the main fabric with the satin. I've cut both of them. Here's the front and here's the back. Now what I'll do now is to cut another satin. I'll cut another satin just the same way I've done for this front and back. I'm going to cut another satin. So I've cut another satin. I'm going to use this one for the lining. I'm using, this is the front and this is the back. I'll be using it for my lining. Okay, we are cutting the lower part and I'm cutting the satin first. Now, here's what I have. I've placed the upper parts I just cut. I've placed it on the fabric I'll be using to cut the lower part. And from my shoulder down here is 29. The full length of this dress is 49. So this 29 being this, the one I got from this upper part, 29 minus 49 is 20. So I need 20 for this remaining parts. So I have 20 here. From here down, I have 20. So I'm going to cut it. Plus my 2 inches seam allowance. Take note, plus 2 inches seam allowance will give me 22. So I'll be cutting it from here. I'm going to curve it here so I don't have a sharp edge. So this is what we have here. This is what we have for the front. And then here is the lower part I just cut. So I'll be joining both of them when I start sewing. Now I'll join this upper part. I'm going to sew it now. I'll sew all of them before joining the ruffles with organza. Now what I'll do, this is the first satin and this is the fabric here. This is the main fabric and this is the first satin. Now I'm going to sew it like this. This is the right side of the satin. I'll place the fabric on top of it like this. Then I'll just sew it up with like 1/4 inch. So sew it up both the armhole, the neckline, and down this part here, this side. I'm going to join it with 1/4 inch. I'll do same thing for the back. Then after joining it, I'll bring this one that I'll be using as my lining, place it on top like this, right side to right side. Now I'll now sew it again with 1/2 inch. So this time around, I'm going to use 1/2 inch on the neck. After sewing the neck, I will notch it and top stitch. I'll do same thing for the armhole because this is going to be an armhole dress. It's going to be a sleeveless dress. So I'll do same thing. I'll sew the armhole and then I'll sew also from here, these two sides with 1/2 inch all through. and then I'll turn it over. I'll repeat the same thing for the back. I'll do it, bring it back for you to see. Okay, I've joined it. I've joined the lining and the fabric together. You can see it here. I told you I'm making an invisible stitch pattern. Now here's the neck. I've top stitched it. I sewed it and then top stitched it around. I've joined it. I also fixed that on it. If you don't know how to fix that, please check other videos in our work. Check other videos. You probably see places where we fixed, where we taught how to make that. So here is the back side. I joined it also. So right now I'm going to take the measurement. I'm going to take the side measurement so that I can join the fabrics, the front and back fabric together. So what I'll do now, I'll place the two fabrics together, the front and the back together, so that I can take the measurement for the side. It's this measurement I'll use to join the two sides together. So I'll start with my bust. I'm working with a bust of 28 inches. So I'll measure from this point, from this end here to this end. 28 divided by 2. This time I'm dividing by 2 because the fabric is no more on fold. So 28 divided by 2 is 14. But what I have here is 17. So I'm going to subtract 17 from 14 to get 3 inches. So what I'll mark here is 1.5. You can see the 1.5 here. And I'll place it also at this point and mark 1.5. You can see it. From there, I'll take my half length. I'm working with a half length of 13 inches. Here's the 13. Here's my half length, 30 inches. I'll mark the 13 also as well here. And then I'll take my waist measurement from my half length. So my waist measurement, I'm working with a waist measurement of 26. I'll place it here. Check what I have here. I have here 17. But 26, I'll divide it by 2. 26 divided by 2 is 13. So 17 that I have here minus 13, I'll have 4 inches. So what I'll do, 4 inches, I'm going to share it between these two sides. So I'll give 2 here and 2 here to make 4. You can see my 2 already. So I'll take also my waistline to my hip line measurement. I'm working with a waistline to hip line of 7. When I place it like this, you can see my 7. So on that waistline to hip line, I'm going to take my hip measurement. I'm working with a hip of 32. So I'm working with a hip of 32, yeah. So I'm going to place my fabric, I'm going to place my tape like this to measure what I have. But before that, 32 divided by 2 is 16. So I'll check what I have here. I have 18. So 18 minus 16 is 2 inches. Okay, sorry, I have 19 inches here. I have 19. So 16 minus 19 will give me 3 inches. So I'll take 1.5 here. I'll take 1.5. You can see the 1.5, and I'll also take 1.5 here. Now, what I'll do next is to construct this line that I've drawn. You can see it here. From here, I'll take this one to this point, and from here, I'll take it to this point. And then remember, it's a pencil dress. So whatever we have here, I have now about I have 16 inches here. So I'll be reducing about 2 inches or 1, depending how penciled you want it to be. So to remove my 2 inches from this 18, I'm going to get from 16 minus 2 is 14. So what I need here is 14 inches. Now out of this 18, I'll measure out 14. So 18 minus 14 will give us 4, which means I'll be taking 2 here and I'll take 2 here as well. And then I'll connect it like this. I'll do same thing here. From here, I'll take it like this and then take this one here and connect it here as well. So I'm going now to sew it like this way from here down. And I'll also sew this place from here down. I'll do that and bring it back for you to see. And then after that, we'll now work on the lower part of it. I've joined the fabric, the front and the back part. As you can see it here, I've joined it on both sides. Here's the back. I used pin to hold it. So when I'll be fixing the zip, I'm going to remove the pin and then join it together. Here, I'm going to take the circumference of this area, round part of this. I'm going to measure it out because I want to fix the lower part. Okay, so I want to use my organza and fix the flare part of it. So what I'll do, I'll measure what I have here, around here. Okay, what I have here actually is 36. I have 18 at the front here, 9 here, and 9 here, making it 36. So I'll fix, remember the flare we cut in the beginning. This is the flare for the front. I'll fix it and fix that of the back as well. This is the back flare. So I'm going to sew it together. I'll sew this one to the front and then I'll attach the back just the way it is being done. I'll attach the back to the back part and I'll equally sew it with 1 inch at these two ends. I'll join it here, this front and this back with 1 inch. I'll join it together. Then after joining, I'll now start fixing my organza on this. As you can see, I've marked 1 inch. I started with 2 inches. Okay, these 2 inches is the allowance that I'll be using to join together. And then I marked out 1 inch line. You can see it. Now this 1 inches, I will use my organza to fix on the lines. Before I start fixing, see how I'll sew the organza. I'm going to place it like this and sew it straight, joining both together and sew it. This is actually 5 inches. I measured out 5 inches here. From here to here is 5 inches. And then I folded it into two. I'm going to fold it into two like this and then sew it with around, about 1/4 inch. After sewing, I'll turn it inside out so that I'll now place it like this and iron, so that this part that I sew will be at the center, just like this. Hope you are seeing what I'm doing. The part I sew will be at the center like this. And then I'll iron it properly. I'll do so for all the organzas that I'll be using. Like here, I have 5. The next one I'll cut is 7. I'll be doing it sequentially. The next one I'll cut will be 9. This is 9. And then the next one I'll get 12. Sorry, 11. And the next one 13. The next one 15. I'll do it like that until I get the organza that I'll be needing for all these lines. So I'm adding 2 inches interval. When I finish the first line, I'll move to the next one, which will be 7 inches. So I'll be doing it like that until I get to this end. And then remember, as we join this together, I'm going to sew this way. This is how I'll sew the organza. I'm also going to mark 1 inch at this back part, the same way I marked it at the front. So I have this, and then at this back, this place is going to be open. This part will be open after I have joined this place, these two ends. After I've joined this place with 1 inch and join this other end here with 1 inch, this part is going to be open. So to fix my organza, I'm going to, as I fold the organza and iron it this way, I will now start fixing from one open end like this. As I fix, I plait it. As I fix, I plait. If you don't know how to plait, please check the link on this video. You'll see how we do our plating. So it's just like this. After I've ironed this, after I've sewn it, turn it inside out and iron, I'll now place like this, and then I'll start plating. As I plait it, I sew it. As I plait it, I sew it. I'll do it round. I'll start from here and sew it round through this part, and then I'll come back to this end. So from this end, I'll go round and come back to this end. I'll do it like that and do all the pleats that I'm supposed to do. So that's how I'm going to fix this lower part. I'll take it now to my machine. I'll sew it and bring it back for you to see.